Now then, welcome ladies and gentlemen, let's look at all the Hunter and Survivor Persona buffs and nerfs that is now in the test server. First one will actually be for Famine. So Famine now only lasts for 50 seconds instead of 60 seconds early game. Overall, it's still 6% regardless of what happens, but you're able to see who the Hunter is when Famine has been brought, and it basically lasts 10 seconds less now. Right, which is honestly speaking pretty good in one sense too. You don't need to wait until blink, or even, yeah, you actually don't need to wait until blink for, you know, the Famine to disappear. So this is honestly speaking pretty good. It does help the Survivor out a little bit when it comes to cypher rushing early game, but overall I'd say they did want to balance this persona quite a bit as well. I do wonder if they're willing to actually remove whoever the Hunter is after, you know, Famine has been activated, but we'll see how it goes on further on in the future. Okay, the next Hunter persona nerf will actually be for Giant Claw. So if we do remember, before Giant Claw had a 10% decoding debuff. Now, Giant Claw will only give you an 8% decoding debuff here. I do think this is just so with the fact that we don't really want too much decoding debuff for that lamp, but as you can see here, the decoding speed is reduced by 8 seconds instead of 10 seconds. So this is the Giant Claw nerf. Okay, then next here will actually be Obsession. So for Obsession here, as you can see, you do gain movement speed boost once there's no survivors within you for 60 meters, right? However, this has now been changed. So as we can see here, this is around the 60-meter radius of the survivor near you. But the change actually here was that if you don't look at the survivor and they're not within your frontal range or view, you will be able to get Obsession. But now, if the survivor is actually like in your frontal range, so let's say for example you walk back this way, you can see Obsession just disappeared even though they are not in your frontal range. And then we just get out of the area here a little bit, should be able to get Obsession once again. Obsession is, oh no, Obsession is not activating because there's a small cooldown there, but like that is kind of one of the biggest changes when it comes to Obsession too. It's just that with like any free moving survivor within 60-meter radius now will be able to cancel it, not just your frontal range anymore. I do think this kind of does make sense because you can't just moonwalk to a survivor with, like, you know, with 6% movement speed boost. But I would say more or less now, because of the fact that, you know, survivor can cancel the movement speed boost, that just means that they all what they have to do is to get out of range and then get in range and then get out of range. You can see Obsession disappear and then get back in range, and now he doesn't have any movement speed boost. Hunter doesn't have movement speed boost anymore. But overall, it's a little bit unfortunate because like I thought the frontal view was nice, just so survivor can't just be within your 60-meter radius unless you're actually chasing after someone. But I do think this is just to prevent moonwalking towards the survivor like this. So fair enough, I guess, from the dev's point of view, but I would have loved it more if it was frontal view, especially for slow-moving Hunters, I guess. Okay, so this is more or less a buff for survivors. Remember back in the day, Flywheel was actually 150-second cooldown instead of 120 seconds. Now the devs has buffed the cooldown duration to 135 seconds instead. So we follow Flywheel here, and as I turn off cooldown depletion, Flywheel is now 135 seconds. So it's only on a 15-second increase on the side of Flywheel as well. I guess honestly speaking, it isn't too bad because what I do realize quite a lot is survivors would rather just Flywheel towards pallets or windows ASAP, drop down pallet, and then get Flywheel into cooldown reduction ASAP. I could see why they wanted to nerf Flywheel, but then like from the NAU community, yes, it does make sense that we shouldn't nerf Flywheel because not all of us have green pin. Yes, Flywheel has been in the game for 2+ years now, but not all of us has green pin, so that is still quite an issue at hand. But a 15-second increase isn't too bad. I'd say it's a good enough balance patch. I'd say it's like not the best, not the worst. At least it's not 115 seconds. Okay, the very last adjustment would be for survivors persona adjustment. So let me just get a clean page for everyone to see what has changed. We see that compensate is actually up here now, sticker is all the way down here, and escape also has changed positions too. So what has actually happened? Escape was originally meant to be here, but it seems like sticker has now been subbed in for escape. So sticker was originally compensate, but it's been moved down to where escape is. Escape, which is originally here, has been moved down to where compensate is. So you can see escape is now here. And last but not least, compensate, which was initially where like the compensate was meant to be in this persona effect, is now moved up to where sticker is. It's kind of confusing, yes, but I don't think this is necessarily a bad adjustment. It seems more like a buff from the survivor side, because if you bring borrowed time right now, you'd have sticker, you self-heal faster, you'd be able to crawl faster anyways, and it's not like all of us need compensate anyways. I mean, like, realistically speaking, you don't need 7 seconds of compensate. You don't need to see the hunter's location for 7 seconds. Like, just one stack of this is more than enough, right? So I would say this is more or less a buff from the survivor side. In one sense, you can say escape has gotten nerfed, because if escape was here, it would have been better, because that just means doctor can run this type of stupid persona build in which she has almost everything to run. But to be honest with you, you can still run it like this. Let me just gonna zoom in and zoom out for you guys. Doctor, oops, wrong one. Doctor can run something like this and still be able to use the 5% movement speed boost. Even though she doesn't have that, she has touch effect, she has defense mechanism. I'll be making a video right after this one as well about Doctor, with all the different heal speeds. But aside from that, that's going to be it from all the persona adjustments here from the side of hunters and survivors. Hopefully everyone did enjoy. Please leave a comment down below if you have any, I guess, opinions or preferences. But I would say fair enough to some of these adjustments. But oh well, let's see how it goes.